Welcome back to another video. If you love deep dives into the NBA's biggest stories, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a breakdown. Now, let's get into today's topic. Ben Simmons. Once upon a time, he was considered the future of basketball. A player built in a lab, 6'10", lightning quick, with the vision of a point guard and the body of a power forward. Scouts said he was the next Magic Johnson, maybe even the next LeBron James. Fast forward to today, and we're here talking about whether Simmons will even continue playing professional basketball at all. Retirement is on the table, not because his body has completely given out, but because the desire just isn't there. Despite whispers that the New York Knicks and another team still have interest, Simmons himself is questioning if he even wants to go on. And the truth is, this isn't just the story of one player falling short. This is a cautionary tale that shook the entire NBA, forced teams to rethink how contracts are written, and left fans wondering how someone with so much promise could simply stop caring. Let's go back to the beginning. Simmons in high school was unfair. A teenager with NBA size, gliding down the court like a guard, dunking over kids who looked like they belonged in a different sport. He had highlight reels that made jaws drop, full-court passes, chase down blocks, and dunks that seemed effortless. By the time he committed to LSU, scouts weren't asking if he would be great, but how great. At LSU, Simmons averaged 19.2 points, 11.8 rebounds, nearly 5 assists, and 2 steals per game. Those aren't just good numbers. Those are numbers that scream no one pick. He was a consensus All-American, a lock to go first in the 2016 draft. And when he was compared to Magic Johnson and LeBron James, it didn't feel crazy. It felt right. The Sixers took Simmons with the #1 overall pick in 2016. They had just spent years in the trust the process tanking experiment, and Simmons was supposed to be the final piece. Joel Embiid was waiting in the wings, already looking like a future MVP. Philadelphia was desperate for a star guard to pair with him. Simmons' rookie year was delayed by a foot injury, but when he finally took the floor in 2018, he delivered immediately. 15.8 points, 8.1 rebounds, 8.2 assists per game. Rookie of the Year. Historic stats. He wasn't just putting up numbers, he was winning. The Sixers jumped from 28 wins to 52, instantly becoming a playoff team. Philly fans believed this was their new dynasty. Simmons and Embiid together? That was supposed to be a championship formula for the next decade. But even as Simmons was dominating, one glaring flaw was obvious. He couldn't shoot. Not just from 3, but anywhere outside of 10 feet. Opposing teams began giving him massive space, clogging the paint, and daring him to pull up. It didn't matter. Simmons refused. Still, every summer, the hope came back. Simmons told the media he was working on his jumper. Clips surfaced of him hitting jumpers in open gyms. Fans watched those grainy workout videos like they were gospel, convincing themselves, this is the year Ben figures it out. Even teammates defended him, saying the work was happening behind the scenes. But when the lights came on, nothing had changed. In his second year, Simmons attempted 6 total threes. In his third year, 11 threes. In his fourth, 10. He wasn't just failing to shoot, he wasn't even trying. Free throws barely improved too, climbing from 56% to just 60%. Simmons didn't just stall in his development, he lied about it. And year after year, the illusion of he's working on it kept everyone waiting for a breakthrough that never came. 2021 Eastern Conference Semifinals. The Sixers were the #1 seed, expected to roll past the Hawks and meet the Bucks in the conference finals. With less than 4 minutes left in Game 7, Simmons had the ball under the basket, an open dunk, no one in front of him, and he passed. He gave up a dunk to Matisse Thybulle, who was fouled. Why? Because Simmons didn't want to go to the free throw line. In that series, he had shot a shocking 33% from the line. He was terrified of failure. And that single pass didn't just cost Philly the game, it destroyed Simmons' confidence forever. For years, people had questioned his mentality. That play confirmed everything. It became the moment that defined his career. Not the Rookie of the Year, not the All-Star selections. One pass, a pass that showed the world he was scared. After the loss, Joel Embiid said the turning point was when we had an open shot and only got 1 free throw. Doc Rivers was asked if Simmons could be the point guard of a championship team, and Rivers said, "I don't know." Those comments from his own franchise player and his own coach shattered Simmons. The fans piled on. Philadelphia fans are famously ruthless, and Simmons became public enemy #1. Instead of responding with resilience, Simmons shut down. He cut communication with the team, demanded a trade, skipped training camp, and later claimed he wasn't mentally ready to play. He never played another game for the Sixers. Here's where this story goes, from sad to infuriating. The Sixers had just given Simmons a 5-year, $170 million extension. That contract was guaranteed, which meant Simmons could sit, refuse to play, and still get paid. Philly tried to withhold money. The players' union fought back. Settlements were made, and unbelievably, the NBA even counted his sit-out year toward his years of service, moving him closer to full retirement benefits. This was the nightmare scenario for any franchise. A player signs a max deal, then effectively quits, and there's nothing the team can do. Fans called it a robbery. Analysts called it the biggest contract scam in league history, and the NBA was embarrassed. Eventually, the Sixers traded Simmons for James Harden. Brooklyn hoped Simmons could revitalize his career next to Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Instead, it was more of the same: injuries, back problems, mental health struggles, and a player who looked disinterested. On the floor, Simmons was hesitant, passive, and at times invisible. He wasn't attacking the rim. He wasn't shooting. He wasn't competing like someone fighting for his career. Brooklyn got nothing close to the all-star they expected. Within a year, Simmons went from franchise player to unplayable. The league couldn't ignore this. Simmons wasn't just a bust. He was a max contract star who flat out stopped trying. That set a dangerous precedent. If one player could pull this off, what would stop others? So the NBA adjusted. Teams began inserting more protective clauses in contracts. The Pelicans famously put weight clauses into Zion Williamson's deal. Other franchises now negotiate performance-based incentives. Simmons' collapse forced the league to rethink everything, because no team wants to be held hostage by a star who checks out after getting paid. Fast forward to today, and the reality is brutal. Ben Simmons is just 29 years old, an age when many stars are entering their prime. Yet instead of chasing championships, he's debating retirement. The market for him has collapsed. Teams like the Knicks or others might have some interest, but let's be honest, they're not offering him $30 or $40 million a year. They're offering short-term, low-risk deals, the kind of contracts usually reserved for role players trying to hang on to the league. And here's the standoff. Simmons doesn't see himself as a role player. He still believes he deserves to be treated and paid like a superstar, even though the numbers, the effort, and the narrative no longer back that up. This is where ego and reality collide. Think about it. Derrick Rose had multiple knee surgeries, yet he reinvented himself, accepted smaller roles, and still carved out years of productive basketball. Dwight Howard eventually accepted he wasn't the focal point anymore and turned into a valuable defensive anchor for the Lakers' 2020 title run. But Simmons, instead of adjusting, instead of humbling himself, he has resisted change. That's why retirement looms. It's not just about his back injuries. It's not just about his mental health. It's about his unwillingness to accept what the league now sees him as. In today's NBA, if you can't adapt, you fade out, no matter how talented you once were. And that's exactly what's happening to Ben Simmons. And so, Simmons' legacy is sealed. He'll go down as one of the greatest wastes of talent in NBA history. A player compared to LeBron and Magic, who never developed a jump shot, never embraced criticism, and never committed to the grind. He had all the physical gifts in the world, but not the mentality to match. And that, more than injuries or circumstance, is what ended his career. Ben Simmons didn't just fail himself, he forced the entire league to confront an uncomfortable truth. Talent alone isn't enough, and contracts without accountability can destroy franchises. Simmons will be remembered not for what he accomplished, but for what he refused to do. And maybe that's the lesson. For the next generation of stars, Simmons is the warning. Work ethic, toughness, and mental strength matter as much as talent. Because without them, you can go from being the next LeBron to being the player the NBA quietly pushes into retirement. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments, was Ben Simmons truly a victim of bad luck and injuries, or did he simply quit on the game? Until next time.